God bless you, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Prophetic Lifestyles with Bernard Bolton. Today, I want to talk about I've been writing as we're preparing for our final session for the prophetic school, for the school rather, Prophetic Dreams and Visions. It'll be taking place this Saturday, and so today I was writing and preparing the final part of that curriculum, and we're going to be looking at Daniel, who I believe Daniel. And when I say this, I'm speaking in terms of symbols, and not that not that the prophetic dreamer has to be exactly like Daniel. We're not imitating him in the sense of imitating his life or his patterns. He lived thousands of years ago, but in a prophetic sense, Daniel is the perfect prototype for today's prophetic dreamer. And I believe there's a lot of reasons for this. When Daniel was when he was a child or a young man, he was taken from Jerusalem or Judah, and he was transported to Babylon. He lived in Babylon until he was a very old man. For the entire 70 years of captivity, Daniel lived in Babylon. And Daniel had many prophetic gifts. He was a dreamer, but he was an interpreter of dreamers. He became the master of the musicians, of the magicians, the astrologers, soothsayers, and the different persons who operated in the occult. Although he was a part of that movement, and this is why I believe he's a prototype today, because although there are many prophetic believers who believe God speaks through dreams and visions, and God has he speaks through signs and wonders, and but there's still large segments of the church that don't believe in these supernatural signs. They don't believe in dreams and visions, and as a result, we who are prophetic and believe that God speaks, we are still sort of we're not in competition with the occult or with those who operate in darkness. For those who receive their gifts from the God of this world, from the enemy. So I won't say we're in competition, but they have a what's the word I'm looking for? There is a permission and a recognition for their gifts more so than there are for those who operate in those same gifts, but the source of their gifts is God. So that's what Daniel faced. So in that sense, Daniel came up against the magicians, the sorcerers, the astrologers, those who practice witchcraft. He came up against these persons who were Babylon. They were Babylonian. They were men of Babylon. They had been schooled in darkness and in the arts of darkness and the secrets. But Daniel's gifts for interpretation of dreams and the ability to interpret signs and visions, Daniel's gift came from the Lord. And so even though Daniel lived in Babylon, for many of us who are dreamers, prophetic dreamers, and interpretive dreamers, some people will dismiss us, and some people will even curse us and say that we're Babylonian. But our source is God. So this is why Daniel serves as an interesting person. And I love this about Daniel, because even though Daniel lived in Babylon for the entire 70 years of captivity, this is what was said about Daniel by the wife of Nebuchadnezzar, the queen. She said in chapter 5, verse 11, she said, "And in the days of your father, light and understanding and wisdom like the wisdom of the gods were found in him. So there were three things that distinguished David, and this is what we're going to be talking about on Saturday, because many of us, we have a call to Babylon. Now, many of us are called out of Babylon, but then some of us are called to Babylon, and we have the gifts for Babylon. And for those who have prophetic gifts, such as the interpretation of dreams and visions, the understanding of signs, what makes you different is the same thing that Nebuchadnezzar's wife said about Daniel. He had light. Okay, so no matter how much darkness is in the earth, I want to encourage you that you walk in the light. Jesus says, I am the light of the world. And then Jesus said, you are the light of the world. Daniel had wisdom. Now there's actually two kinds of wisdom. There's the wisdom of the earth, which is demonic, and then there's the wisdom of heaven, which is God. Daniel had the wisdom of God, and thus he was able to do many supernatural things with his gifts. And so as long as we operate in the light and the wisdom, and let me see what was the third one, understanding. Daniel had understanding. He understood dreams and visions, and he understood when God was speaking. He understood the source of the supernatural was God himself. And so as long as you have light, wisdom, and understanding, even though you walk in Babylon, you can always overcome Babylon. Even as a dreamer, and we don't have to exactly be like Daniel, because we are new covenant and we are prophetic, and the Holy Spirit in us is what gives us all of our prophetic gifts. I'm not sure that Daniel even had Holy Spirit, but he had the gifts. God gave him the gifts. So in the midst of Babylon, don't be afraid of Babylon. Don't be afraid of the occult. Don't be afraid of those that espouse angel numbers and those who do tarot card readings and fortune telling. We don't have to be afraid of any of that, because we have the light. We are the light of Yahshua. Okay? So God bless you. Thank you for watching. Shalom.